Hi, I'm Karen Palmer, WSU Master Gardener, and today we're going to talk about pruning tomatoes.
I got tomatoes in my garden, tomatoes in my shed, tomatoes on my sandwich, tomatoes in my head. I got tomatoes in the dryer, tomatoes on the lawn. Gonna keep on slicing till they're all gone.
Yes, you heard that right. Indeterminate tomatoes should really be pruned. These are the type of tomatoes that grow large, like your Brandywine, your Big Beef, your Better Boy, your San Marzano, Early Girl, those types. Pruning will help the plant put less energy into growing leaves and more energy into ripening and getting bigger tomatoes. So it is an important thing to do. These plants were planted a few weeks ago, so it's time to do the first pruning. And the basic rule of thumb is first you need to take out a lot of these suckers that are growing between the main stem and the leaf stalk. So this is a sucker. And when they're small like this, it's very easy to just snap it off with your fingers. That's all you need to do. And here's another one down here. I'm going to take it off. So basically you can leave a few. The general recommendation is you leave 1 to 3 on a plant, 1 to 3 suckers on a plant. And you want to leave the ones that are forming above the first bloom. So on this plant, this was obviously the first bloom. We already have tomatoes. And so I would ideally want to leave the ones above that. However, I've really got this nice sucker here that's already has some blooms. I don't have the heart to take that one out. So I'm going to count that as one of my suckers. I'm going to go ahead and take this one off down here. And here's another nice one. That's maybe 2. And this is a Big Beef. It gets to be a pretty big plant. So I'm going to just leave this one with 2 suckers overall. So I'm just going to pick out all the little other suckers that have formed. This is also a good time to prune off some of the lower branches. They're not doing anything for the plant. They're not doing any photosynthesis. They're not shading any tomatoes. And they're just sort of getting kind of yucky. And they're touching the ground, which is a good vector for disease. So since those are kind of tough, I'm going to use my clippers and just get in here and clip those right off at the stalk. You know, this one doesn't look very good either. I'm going to go ahead and take him off. And also when I prune is a good time to make sure your plant is tucked up into your basket. So get it all tucked up or tied up if you're trellising. It's good to come out and do this about every 1 to 2 weeks is what I try to do, because those suckers grow really, really fast and they get really large fast. So here's another plant. Just do another example. Here's another example where it got away from me. It already grew a sucker that's kind of large. So even though it was obviously below the first bloom, I'm going to go ahead and leave it too. And pull the weed while I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. This one, I'm going to cut this branch because it doesn't look good. Snap these out. See, when you get them really little, they're easy to take out. Here's a really nice one here that's already grown, so I'm going to count that as my second one and take these. So even the suckers that you leave, they're going to grow suckers, so you got to really keep at it. But that's really all there is to it. Tuck it up in here, and some of my plants are much smaller. They were smaller when I planted them, so these have not really formed a lot yet, a lot of fruit. So these are the type that I'll be able to have better control over. That's all there is to pruning your tomatoes. Thanks.
Tomatoes in the canner, tomatoes on my tongue. I got tomatoes that are older, some of them are young. Gonna give them to the neighbors, sell them on the street. Tomatoes are the best 'cause they're so sweet. Yeah, tomatoes are the best 'cause they're so sweet.